Hey guys, it's your pal Victor here, and we are over at the press screening for M3GAN. Look at her eyes, they're moving and blinking. We're gonna give you a review of what we think about this movie right after this. We are excited. See you in a minute.
Killer time.
Hey guys, it's your pal Victor here from Cult Classics, and we just got out of watching M3GAN, which so far has the distinct privilege of being the best movie I've seen in 2023. Then again, we're just at the beginning of the year, but no, really, it's an awesome movie. It's one of those things where, I'm a big fan of sci-fi horror. That's a great mix. Blumhouse actually has a really good grasp on this genre. I remember back in, I think, 2019, Upgrade was one of my favorite sci-fi horror movies that year. In 2020, we had The Invisible Man. Both of them movies where technology is preying on or encroaching on basic human, basic human necessities like companionship and vengeance, basic human qualities. And when I think of movies like RoboCop from back in the 80s, where it's just sort of this, uses sci-fi horror as a vehicle for satire, especially commercialization, since the 80s was like the me decade. You were what you bought. It's funny how everything cycles back around, and a lot of that is really the case today in the 2020s, where a lot of your personality is dictated by what you own, that kind of scene you're into, and getting the hippest new thing, the Tesla, whatnot. And in that case, something like RoboCop was really ripe for that sort of a remake. We had the RoboCop remake from a few years ago, which completely lost the point. But this, in a lot of ways, M3GAN sort of feels like a spiritual successor to something like RoboCop, in terms of using sci-fi horror as a vehicle for satire on commercialization. A lot of it revolves around this little girl named Katie. The movie starts off sort of with this commercial for these things called perpetual pets, which are basically really expensive Furbies. You need to watch this. It's worth it for all the faux product commercials. And she loses her parents. She ends up living with her aunt Gemma, who's played by Allison Williams, who you probably know from either Girls or Get Out, both where she plays an excellent asshole. And Gemma is really busy with her career because she works for this terrible company called Funky. The key to fun is funky. It's also a great parody on Funko and its ubiquitous toy nature. But for the most part, Gemma's really concerned with trying to build this android that she's dubbed M3GAN, Model 3 generative android. Haha. But, and she's not really that into like being a parent guardian figure. Katie comes in her house, wants to play with toys. She picks up some of her collectibles and she starts freaking out. Those aren't toys. Those are things we look at. Can I relate to that? Yes. But the other thing is that Gemma's been so busy trying to get this robot made that she's overlooked a lot of things like safeguards and all that, and it's kind of become sentient on its own, and it pairs with Katie, and as it helps her get through this grief of losing her parents, she becomes more and more attached, and her core directive is to protect Katie from emotional and physical harm, which she takes to twists in all sorts of interesting ways to kind of get her way. And from there, it's just fun. This movie, capital F-U-N, is super fun. It's fun because it's a lot like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre in that it leaves a lot of the gore in your imagination, because that makes it that much worse. And that's what makes it really good. It leans into the silliness of its premise. It's sort of like a like the Chucky Child's Play TV show in that sense, where it's just, we know this killer doll thing is campy, so we're going to have fun with it. When weirdly enough, it has a lot more in common with the Child's Play remake from a couple years ago than the actual Chucky show. It's more of an evil AI movie. And I've seen a lot of evil AI movies, including Margot lately, but this is awesome and it works great in a crowd. So if you're going to go see a movie this weekend, and you should go see M3GAN. It's super fun. Performances are great. I want to watch it again. So yeah, my highest recommendation, go check out M3GAN. It's awesome. It's super fun. Performances are great. CGI is great. Humor is great. Check it out. Practical effects more so than CGI, actually. All right, so that's it from Cult Classics. We got more coming up this year, and we will talk to you later. See ya.